Words. Words break reality into pieces, creating illusions of isolated things out of an actual singularity. Ideas behind words take on a significance of their own. Volume 5 pieces expose words and ideas as artificial, to reveal the interrelated oneness, which is the essence of the reality you encounter. Exactly what is the nature of the real world you encounter every day? How you answer that question depends more on your beliefs than on reality and its actual function. So let's look beyond your convictions, beliefs, and assumptions to see how life actually works. The Essence of Reality explores how the psyche which you are creates the reality you encounter. Aha, 'tis true, you found the essence of reality, this one and only untainted look at how life works. Here you see beyond standard thinking to recognize how you attract patterns and thus create your own life. It's all about awareness of that inner-outer connection, a perception only ever diminished by beliefs and common notions. We do have much to cover, so enjoy this entry and explore other episodes. They're always free and without commercials. You don't have to regard this series, my books, or my website for long before you run into the word reality. Indeed, this 5th volume sets focus on words and ideas, in effect, how they each distort your perception by substituting mind images for real things. Looking at such things in this 5th set of my EoR series, we approach the word reality. But we'll regard reality with a recognition that what we encounter in life varies quite a bit in perceived effect from one person to the next. And that is because the qualitative experience depends heavily not on what we see, not on what we really experience, but on what each of us makes of it. So we might easily agree that reality is a realm of objects and people you see and otherwise sense daily. But how they all function, how the various items, life forms, humans and such interrelate, what causes events, who or what drives it all, well, there we would get quickly into disagreement based on held beliefs and accepted explanations. So, simple as it might seem, the word reality harbors some fundamental illusions because what you believe reality to be and how you imagine it to function may well differ considerably from what it really is and how it really works. Tom Nair here. I speak from a unique standpoint. I've spent years clearing away deceiving ideas to achieve what I call clear awareness. Life works well when you see that you alone drive yours. So these videos are intended only to help you see past common misconceptions, to recognize how life actually works. Were it not for misconceptions, how well mankind and its many diverse cultures spread across the globe would function. Indeed, one very strange aspect of my task in life is how much of an effort it takes writing books, maintaining a website, traveling to speak to groups, scripting and recording and editing these videos about a wide range of aspects of reality, all to nudge people to simply see and grasp what's going on in front of their eyes all the time. The point is always of awareness, and you're only aware of what your beliefs and worldview allow because they color and flavor your impression indelibly. Reality, when you know what it is and how it works, you can mold such a great and creative life. When you think you know but don't really, well, you're in for problems. You'll spend a lot of time swatting at phantoms. Our standard view of what's happening in the life form here stems back literally thousands of years. Ideas held by many, indeed most people, are rooted in ancient thinking. For ages, parents have taught their kids how to see the world. Generation after generation, they teach them stock ideas common to their culture. And people treat their offspring in particular traditional ways as they raise them, leaving equally powerful impressions. So ways of life and ideas about it get passed along through indoctrination and, well, practically force-feeding of cultural notions to each generation, even when the common understanding is grossly distorted. It doesn't take a mathematical genius to see what's going on. Look at the numbers. Some 2 billion Christians, 1.5 billion Muslims, 1 billion Hindus, over 1 billion non-religious, hundreds of millions of Buddhists, Taoists, Sikhs, Jews, and so forth. With that diversity, even if one religion were right in its recognition of how reality functions, the vast majority of mankind would be wrong. But of course, supposing even one religion to be correct is a stretch. All you have to do is look at the tenets of each religion, their bases in ancient myth and unreliable lore, in superstition and fantasy. Examine any religion with an open mind. Compare it to reality, and the obvious conclusion is they are all wrong. Civilization has prospered and expanded for some 5 millennia. How can it be that practically all humans are clueless as to what reality actually is? That's an easy question, and actually I already answered it. Indeed, I do so frequently hereabouts. The mind is deceived thoroughly by its own held beliefs. Whatever you believe in appears to be true. Most of the 7 billion humans, a vast majority actually, have been thoroughly indoctrinated in a particular set of beliefs since they learned to talk. Once they absorb those beliefs, regardless of what they are, how thoroughly improbable and totally banal and unworkable, however unfounded, archaic, myth-based, once children are brainwashed into a religion or other structured belief system, they can't see beyond that belief structure to question it. The reality they encounter will conform to their programmed expectations, even into adulthood. So the reality most people on this planet in the early 21st century would describe is a fantasy. It would be based on their held religious declarations plus residual pagan notions and some scientific tenets added in. In short, a mishmash of ideas, most of which are invalid. I know that because I was handed the same batch of Western notions growing up, and I spent decades scraping them away to see clearly what's happening here. So, what is reality? How does it differ from the common thought of the physical universe, possibly created by some deity? In ancient times, people universally simply believed in some set of deities. About 2,500 years ago, a few pockets of freer thinking appeared. Greece and its nearby colonies promoted thinking, such that schools of thought developed, headed up by some exceptionally astute philosophers. They began to see through the prevalent God notions, to examine reality and speculate on it. About that same time, Siddhartha Gautama in India broke through the ancient Hindu wisdom to formulate greater impressions of life's transcendent nature, as did Lao Tzu in China, and 5 centuries later, Yeshua of Nazareth in Judea. Check out my videos and, for more detail, my books that look at their teachings. Philosophical examination, though, initiated by the Greeks so long ago, dimmed through the ages of highly restricted religious thinking. But it blossomed anew from the middle of the last millennium, sloughing off, eventually, the yoke of constricted, bureaucratized religion. Science emerged along with rational thinking, slowly from then onwards examining reality via testing and reasoned discussion could outflank subservience to primitive conjecture brainwashed into the masses and their offspring. So the typical modern person, if asked to describe reality, could only flounder with crude descriptions of the visual universe. Objects and their interaction might be observed, but forces affecting those material features and even people would vary from God's making things happen to luck in the economy, trends in the government. Who knows what sort of model might be described. But reality at its core is built on values, on meaning. It manifests in specific patterns wherein the seemingly distinct objects and forces coalesce, invariably to create effects that make real the composite nature of each individual who experiences it. Reality indeed doesn't exist as the objective realm mostly imagined, a free-floating universe of particles, galaxies, and energy with no real point to it. It certainly isn't a play school project of an ethereal deity with nothing better to do than judge millions of people it created. Reality, as a word, is highly illusory. It appears to you as you believe it, mostly hazy, generalized, and indistinct for most people, as they don't really pay much attention to it. And when they do, they aren't generally aware of the whole array of beliefs and definitions they've absorbed that distort it. Behind that blurred image, that myth and fantasy-infected worldview common to most people, is a surprisingly simple status. Reality, the stuff you see, hear, taste, and feel, and consciousness, the you doing the sensory perceiving, are one. Reality as you experience it is an outer reflection in realized forms of your own inner intent, curbed in your perception by your own limitations of understanding and your own held beliefs. Reality then, as a word or idea, appears as it is believed in. Its essence, though, bears little resemblance to the notion held in popular thinking. But paradoxically, it sits, evolves, unfolds right there in front of your nose. All you have to do is dump the beliefs and definitions that hide it. You'll see reality as a vibrant, meaningful essence, your inner nature made real, ongoing in an ever-flowing now moment. That, then, is the reality of it. We might easily agree that reality is a realm of objects and people you see and otherwise sense daily. But how they all function, well, there we would get quickly into disagreement based on held beliefs and accepted explanations. What you believe reality to be may well differ considerably from what it really is and how it really works. You're only aware of what your beliefs and worldview allow because they color and flavor your impression indelibly. Our standard view of what's happening in life is rooted in ancient thinking. Parents have taught their kids stock ideas common to their culture, even when the common understanding is grossly distorted. Practically all humans are clueless as to what reality actually is. So, what is reality? Reality, at its core, is built on values, on meaning. It manifests in specific patterns that make real the composite nature of each individual who experiences it. Reality and consciousness are one. Reality, as you experience it, is an outer reflection in realized forms of your own inner intent and your own held negatives. Your inner nature made real, ongoing, in an ever-flowing now moment.